Yo, good afternoon. This is YoungAriGold with Texans Unfiltered, back again with another video. I did one earlier this morning. Now, there's been some things that there was an interview with Cal and Hannah this morning on the radio, which was somewhat of a good interview. Kind of honestly not great towards the end there, but that's more on the hosts. But really good insight into some of the things that Hannah and Cal said during the interview this morning. Lots of things to actually take away, and lots of things to get into in regards to maybe some of the earlier videos I had, specifically on Tuesday when talking about Hannah McNair's involvement. Um, there's not a lot known about Hannah McNair, right? We obviously have the video of her, or the picture of her sleeping at one of the Texans games. I think a lot of people just assumed that she was just Cal's wife. And when you Google Hannah McNair, there's not a ton to, you can't find a lot. She does a lot of philanthropy work, which is amazing. She seems like a really amazing woman. There was an article written the other day, 3 days ago, about Hannah McNair's presence at the press conference with Cal and Nick, and the article actually referencing when the press conference was over and Nick and Cal went away. Hannah stayed with the media and just had conversations, and just was greeting them, having conversations about things, and just being this personable, likable individual that people can start to gravitate towards. Right, like when we look at the Texans and a lot of the issues over the last 3 years, there really hasn't been that face or that person that has been that personable, um, not, I don't want to say face of the franchise, because she probably wouldn't even want that to be the case, but just somebody who's has like a calm and like just a calm demeanor, and a nice, genuine individual person. I've never met Hannah, but based on the article I read, based on the interview today, and some of the things she said, she seems extremely smart as well. I think I might have jumped the gun a little bit when it came to the other day saying that, with Hannah being involved, things could go sideways. She sounds like she has such a solid head on her shoulders. She speaks extremely clear. Um, she I came away this morning from the interview that Hannah is, um, maybe the right person, and with her and Cal, this might actually work. With the introductions of the uniforms, and really buying into the new Houston Texans with Cal McNair as the owner, and where we're going to go, as the statement that Mark Berman put out from the marketing department at the Houston Texans. Um, it was really interesting. So if you guys haven't heard the interview this morning, I would just Google it. It's going to pop up. It'll be there. But a couple things to take away. So one, the biggest thing to take away was the confidence that Hannah and Cal actually have in Nick Caserio. And the reason why I say that is because it obviously came up. There was a question about Nick Caserio, and the faith in him and things of that nature. Cal, Cal was going to talk. Hannah hopped in, talked about this was, somebody that we've had, our eye on for a long time, prior to Jack Easterby, prior to Bill O'Brien. We've really been interested in Nick Caserio for a long time. Um, and when you look around the league and the things that people see in Nick, he also talked about like the story of like when Carolina put in the interview request and it being granted. Um, and Cal and Hannah basically saying like, "This is the guy we wanted. This is the guy that we want." And that, that's great. And then she talks about what he like. She makes reference of like him basically being a good talent evaluator and being good at what he does. And it was unprompted, the way that she kind of slid in there. Very, very unique to think about, and um, really maybe an open, a welcome change to what we're seeing. Hannah is, the way she speaks compared, and obviously Cal today was great too. I think, and you guys always get on Cal about the way he reads, anything that was prepared for him by the PR department and things of that nature. But when he's just having a conversation like he was today, um, normal guy, which was great to hear. And the most interesting part, though, about this entire interview today, you know, they asked about how, firing two coaches. They weren't specific about the race. And then Hannah hops in and goes, "We are not a racist organization." And if you look at and goes back through the history of the Texans, um, and talks about Rick Smith and all these everybody else that they've had that were black individuals and that were on the staff or on upper management or on head coaches or assistant coaches or things of that nature. It was extremely interesting to hear her just come out and blatantly say that. It's kind of cool to see someone be transparent. Now, look, there are still issues with how things were handled and what happened, but it was really cool to hear them talk about or her just come out and say that. The interview was really, 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 really good. They talked about Cal's first car, that stuff didn't matter. Then they talked about what this process is going to look like. They even made the comment. Hannah made the comment that Cal was involved in the decision process for the two previous head coaches, and that this is a true collaborative approach this time. There were lots of little intricate pieces of information that were there during the interview process, and honestly, it's a very refreshing interview for the first 15 minutes. I wish that the last 15 minutes or last 10 minutes they spent more time talking about the Texans. I understand that John Lopez has a relationship with Hannah and Cal, so he can make it more fun. But it's very rare that there's an opportunity to have or hear from both of them. This is the first time I believe that we were able to hear from both of them in the same room. So talking about barbecue and things of that nature, like I totally get it. But there was just an opportunity there to really talk more about what they're looking at and the future and the business, and then they did a little bit of it, but it would have been nice to see that happen more, or hear more about what their thought process is on those things. I definitely encourage all of you guys to go on Sports Radio 610 and find the podcast. It was amazing. You're my favorite dude to listen to about the Texans. Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate you. Eduardo, the only issue that I have with Hannah was that one time she and Cal made that racist joke at what I think was a country club. Other than that, the cold shoulder she gave Watson won me over. Yeah, I know Cal made the comment about the China. I don't believe that was Hannah. But you know, uh, what are you going to say? I mean, if they're Republican, they're not going to see it as in the light that you do. They're rich white folks. They're going to be Republican. Doesn't make them a racist. But that comment, I can understand it with the China virus. Definitely not a good look. But Hannah, that was not Hannah. That was Cal. And I, I really, I really think that the more and more we see of Hannah, and the more and more we go through this process and continue to see the decisions made over there on Kirby, um, it might be one of those things where we look back and we're like, this is actually the person who really helped put this organization on the right path. Nick Casserio too, and obviously Cal, but it's good to know that this is still happening. So yeah, it was a great interview. I would definitely go listen. It was earlier this morning. Not I think it was like 10 o'clock. So if you go on Sports Radio 610's website, or if you go to the Odyssey app, you can actually go to the podcast and search through. Go to In the Loop. Shout out Landry Locker, and Figgy Fig, and John Lopez. But yeah, I definitely go check it out. Lots of good information. There was more to it as well. I'm about to go golfing, so I just wanted to put my 2 cents in there for some of the things I did hear. It was great to hear the confidence that they do have in Nick Caserio and why, and it's just interesting. There's something about this organization right now that feels completely different than where they were a couple years back, and even maybe some of last year. Like the aura and the vibe from the organization is different, and I think it's a good thing. It's a welcome change. I wish there was some more transparency, not necessarily along with like hiring processes and like I don't want Nick to come out and say here's our plan. I think a lot of fans are looking for them to acknowledge the past, acknowledge what they've done or been a part of or had to handle, right? There's even in this interview, there's they're kind of tiptoeing around certain things. I really wish that there would have been a conversation about that, and that Cal and Hannah would have acknowledged it. I think that process or that part of the story is going to really make Texans fans even more excited because there's those. It's just kind of been ignored by the entire organization. And this is an opportunity for them. If we are doing a clean slate, the only way you can actually do a full clean slate is by taking accountability for what happened, whether it be Jack Easterby, the way that Deshaun Watson situation ended up. Like, it's not like they're responsible for the sexual assault allegations. Um, Bill O'Brien basically, you know, handicapping this organization for the next 3 years. So many different pieces. But I really hope that at some point we get that dialogue and we get that conversations, because that is something that is needed. And it's like, if you actually look at a lot of people that are hating on this team, a lot of it just stems from that. Um, so I think that's going to be something that they have to do, but uh, it's refreshing right now. Definitely refreshing. I did not see the new uniforms. I have not. I think I'm not a part of the media, never will be. So I don't get to see that stuff. I'm not a part of the fan board that helped put that stuff together. But I would assume that Landry's hat that he was wearing with the white and I wouldn't say powder blue. I think it's a little different. Very similar color style or color scheme, but I mean, they're obviously going to go some variation of that. The lettering is obviously going to be a part of it. All of that stuff is great. And I would assume, I told you guys 2024. It's going to take some time. This is like not an overnight process, but um, it's going to be awesome. Punjabi Panda. I mean, when you drive to Houston and you see those cringe billboards and signs on the rural drive over that heavily support Trump, it's no surprise if they say China virus. Yeah. I remember driving to when I drive to Houston. There's two huge haystacks that had Trump as like a haystack. Super weird. The amount of time and money people spend on supporting somebody they don't even know in a weird manner like that is just strange to me. A lot of insiders did. I'm wondering if the matches. Yeah, that's. I kind of think the same thing. Dougie Fresh, do you think that Stroud will declare for the draft? Um, I don't see why he wouldn't, but maybe not. Maybe he doesn't want to go to the Texans. Anybody think about that? It is a David client. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what he's worried about. I have no idea. We'll find out soon, though. We should find out in the next coming in the coming weeks. But it's a business decision at the end of the day for him. Don't come to the Texans. I don't want anybody here that doesn't want to be here. So we already went through that situation with the quarterback. I don't want to go through that again. But yeah. So before I hit the links, thought I'd put this out there. Great interview. Definitely take the time to listen to it. You probably won't get another chance to hear them on the radio like that again. And it was cool to hear the dynamic between her and Cal, the genuine love that they have for each other. Me being married, super cool to see that, and it's cool to see a woman in the position that Hannah's in. And who knows where it goes, but it looks like it's on a positive path, which is all that we can really ask for. So yeah. All right. With that being said, make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe button. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoy your 3-day weekend with Martin Luther King Day on Monday. And I will catch you guys sometime next week.